So welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you that do not know me, I am Nicolia Williams, and I am a best-selling author 3 times and a personal development coach, and I help busy women learn how to write their books and get it out to the masses. So today I really wanted to touch on writer's block. A lot of times people set out to write their book, but when they get to the writing part, it becomes extremely overwhelming. So you have an idea up here and you feel like once you get it out on the paper, all is going to be well. But you sit there and you're trying to write, but nothing in the world is coming. You know what the topic is. You know even maybe some titles or different quotes that you want to include or different, important parts. But actually writing it just seems so difficult. Or maybe you've been writing for an hour and you just can't seem to pull anything from that. So I want to share 4 quick strategies that I use in my writing journey as well as with my one-on-one clients to help them to overcome writer's block. Now, I'm a firm believer that writer's block happens when you have so much in there and you can't organize it onto paper, and it's not because you have nothing in your brain. A lot of people assume that writer's block comes because you're out of ideas or there's no more content inside, but that's not true. The first way that I overcome writer's block is I read. And the reason that I read is because a lot of times in reading, you'll get different inspiration. So maybe a quote will bring something up, or maybe a story will bring something up. Or maybe if you're reading on a topic that's similar to what you're writing, it will remind you of something important or pivotal that you wanted to include in your book or your story as well. And so I use reading to grasp inspiration that I can now incorporate into my book. The second thing is you want to eliminate distractions. So a lot of times we're easily distracted because there's a lot going on. So maybe you're sitting in a room where the TV is going on, or there's music going on, or maybe you're in your office and your door is closed, but your kids are outside and they're fighting. So now your brain is trying to do too much, okay? You're trying to worry about why they're fighting. You're trying to worry about why your house isn't clean behind you. You're trying to worry about what the song is on TV and you're dancing to it, or on the radio, you're dancing to it and singing to it, but you're not focused on that one thing. And what I have found is when you are able to eliminate those distractions, now your brain is able to focus on one thing. A lot of times we as women, and I'm guilty, assume that we are good at multitasking. But what studies have shown is that what your brain does is it's breaking those things up. So let's say you're reading and you're watching TV. What you're really doing is you're picking up every couple of words in your reading, and then you're focusing on TV for a couple of seconds. And then you're picking up a couple of words from your writing, and then you're focused on the TV. You're not really doing 2 things at once. It may feel like that, but you're not really grasping it the same way you would if you just really focused on one thing at a time, and organized it that way. And so the best thing you can do is eliminate distractions because you don't want anything pulling you away from your writing. The third step is you want to change your environment. So a lot of times we're sitting in an environment that feels normal to us. So maybe you're sitting in your bed, but then you're kind of dozing off. Or maybe you're sitting in your den and you're looking like I am now. You're wondering, oh, wow, that table is really dirty because my kids messed it up with crafting. Maybe you're sitting outside, but there's so much noise with the traffic or the railroads or something, you can't focus. A lot of times what I have found is when I want to change my inspiration, I just go to a new area. And I remember when I was writing my first book, one of the things I was writing about was busy women, and mostly busy moms is kind of what I focused on. And so one of the places that I really enjoyed writing was the park, because I got inspiration from the moms. I would look at like how they were feeling or what they were focused on or what they were doing. And that gave me inspiration. That really inspired me. Maybe a park isn't good for you. I have a client who writes in Starbucks just because she needs to get outside of her home and into a different environment. And Starbucks motivates her because she's looking at other people who are dedicated towards their dreams and their goals, and that inspires her that she needs to keep working on her writing. Lately, my inspiration room has been my den. One thing that I do, if you notice back there, is I have my vision boards back there. And my vision boards, I use those to inspire me, to help me remember what I'm working towards. On one of my vision boards, I have a picture of a book, and that reminds me that I desire to become an author, and that is something that I'm working on diligently. And so I write successfully here. Now, sometimes if I kind of draw a blank or I'm getting that writer's block, I'll get up and I'll change my environment. I'll go sit on my patio in the back. I might go to a Starbucks. Starbucks doesn't specifically work well for me, but I know some people that will work. So just giving yourself that opportunity to change your environment may spark some new inspiration in the meantime. And then the 4th strategy is going to sound kind of counterintuitive, but it truly works. And that is to just write anything. Like I said, a lot of times people assume that when you have writer's block, it's because there's nothing left in your brain to write about and you got to draw inspiration from all these places. I'm a firm believer that your brain is probably just overcrowded with stuff. And what I found, and I do with my clients a lot of times when they're first beginning to write, is I have them just write anything. So that means like, just write about anything. Write about your childhood. Write about what's in front of you. Write about how your kid drove you crazy. Kind of like writing a diary, right? And you're just writing. And as you're writing, things will start to come up because you're just writing. And one thing that I do is I set a timer. So I do a 7-minute timer just because I like the number 7. And so what I would do is I just write for 7 minutes. So I set a timer and I cannot stop writing. And I just write for 7 minutes or type for 7 minutes. And what I found is a lot of times ideas will pop up. Like I'll be writing about my kid, but then I'll remember like, oh my gosh, I wanted to write about organization as a mom. Or I'll be writing about my money and how I'm frustrated with my budget or something. And then I'll say, oh my gosh, I need to write about what it costs to publish a book. You'll draw inspiration from the things that are in your mind because a lot of times our brain is thinking more than what we even know is being thought about. And so when you just force yourself to write, the writing will become a little bit more natural and more inspiration will come. And so I really like that strategy. A lot of times when I have new writers and they just don't even know where to begin, I have them do that same strategy because they draw inspiration from that as well. And so those are the 4 simple strategies that I have found to be really successful in pulling yourself out of that writer's block and getting towards actually writing your book. So I'll review those one more time. So the first one is to read. Read something to increase your inspiration. The second one is to eliminate distractions. So get rid of those things that are taking your mind off of what you're supposed to be working on. The third one is to change your environment. So you want to change where you're writing. Maybe you'll draw inspiration from a different environment. Maybe you'll be less distracted. And then the fourth one is just to write anything. Set yourself a timer, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Set yourself a timer where you feel comfortable. And if that doesn't work, up the time. If you start off at 5 minutes and you feel like you still didn't draw any inspiration, up the time to 10 minutes. And then I'll give you one more bonus strategy, kind of just came to my mind that I know sometimes will help. Sometimes when I'm working with women, I find that they're writing and they're like so hard on themselves. And they're like, I need to write for an hour straight. But when you're a new writer, that can become very overwhelming and very frustrating. And so you don't always have to write for an hour straight. You are allowed to give yourself breaks. And a lot of times when you give yourself those breaks, you'll feel kind of refreshed and restored, and then the writing will come naturally. And so that's another strategy that you can use to now overcome that writer's block. Give yourself that break. Give your brain a break to rest and relax. And then you come back and you're restored, rejuvenated, and ready to get writing. So those are the strategies. I am going to offer something super amazing to you guys. I just crafted a new freebie, which is called Write Your Chapters. So a lot of people come with ideas and they're like, all right, I have this idea to write about budgeting, or I have this idea to write about marriage, or I have this idea to write about parenting, but I have no idea where to start with this idea. So they start to write and it sort of just looks like word vomit tossed on a paper, just unorganized thoughts all over the place. Well, obviously you can't publish a book with word vomit. You want to publish a book that now speaks to your audience and is appealing to them. And the best way to do that is to structure your book in bite-sized chunks that your audience can interpret and really take in effectively. And you want to do that by having very good chapters. And so I am now going to offer you guys an opportunity to get those chapters written by giving you my freebie, which is called Write Your Chapters, where you simply just learn how to structure and organize your writing into effective chapters. So if you're interested in learning more, definitely check that out below. It'll be in the comments below. So I will chat with you guys later. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.